People are starting to travel in greater numbers, and we've got 10% fewer air traffic controllers today than we had before the pandemic. What does that mean, leaving aside any additional political challenges in terms of people that are just planning on flying? How are their experiences going to be different in that environment?
So the good news is, after a very disruptive year last year in terms of the pace at which air travel demand returned and the struggles that the airlines had catching up, this year actually, so far, we've seen the performance quite strong. Each month so far in 2023, the preliminary data show cancellation rates under 2%. We actually haven't seen that happen every month this far into a year in many years. So that's the good news. But it is going to be a challenge if we can't hire the air traffic controllers we need. Now, we got 1,500 hired this year, or in the process of being hired, another 1,800 in the president's budget for next year. And even now, we are facing the effect of the hole that COVID blew in our training pipeline, because it can take more than a year, often closer to 2 years, to get an air traffic controller qualified for any particular position. But I do want to emphasize that issues like staffing and air traffic control are not the main cause, not even close to being the main cause of cancellations and delays. We've been working with the airlines, pressing the airlines, and they have delivered a lot of improvements with what's under their control. And of course, we're continuing to work on what's under our control to deliver that smooth, safe travel experience that passengers want, while also stepping up our consumer protection to support passengers when airlines aren't treating them the way they should. So we will always work with the airlines where appropriate, but we are also going to hold them accountable when they're not taking good care of passengers. That's what the latest announcement, launching a rule about compensating passengers in extreme delays and cancellations, is all about. We've also found that transparency goes a long way. Just by putting up a dashboard on our website at flightrights.gov, that had a remarkable effect. In a matter of days, it did what regulations could have taken years to deliver, which is going from none of the top 10 airlines to almost all of them, making specific, written, enforceable commitments about things like taking care of meals and accommodation and ground transportation and rebooking if they're responsible for you getting stuck. A lot of passengers, even today, don't know, for example, that an airline has to give you a cash refund if your flight gets canceled. And often the airline's sort of opening bid will be, well, how would you like a few thousand miles? And if a passenger doesn't know that that's the equivalent of 10 or 20 bucks, they might really be shorted compared to that cash refund that they are owed and deserve. And that's also why on the back end, we are going through thousands of complaints, following up and launching enforcement actions where appropriate. And all of this is about making sure that passengers have a better experience. Our number one priority with aviation is safety. And we never take for granted the extraordinary safety record of U.S. aviation. But close behind it is customer service and making sure that we stand with passengers and have their back.